Everyone, please remain seated. Come to order. We'll begin the session.
Don't forget to call them by number. We're going to swear you back in this morning.
You ready for them, Judge?
Yes?
They come. All rise.
All right, please be seated. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. We are going to call the roll, so just answer by present or here.
One.
Here.
Juror number 2.
Here.
Juror number 3.
Here.
Juror number 4. Here. Juror number 5.
Here.
Juror number 6.
Here.
Juror number 7.
Here.
Juror number 8.
Here.
Juror number 9.
Here.
Juror number 10.
Here.
Juror number 11.
Here.
Juror number 12.
Here.
Juror number 13.
Here.
And juror number 14.
All right, everybody's present. Okay, Detective Mayo, if you would please stand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did. All right, please be seated. All right, gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Mayo, I believe when we left yesterday, we were
getting into June 28th and search warrants.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right. Now, while we may return to June 27th, go ahead and follow through with the search warrants. And what were the search warrants for in general?
They were for cell phones, computers, and digital evidence.
Okay. And after obtaining those search warrants, did you go to any specific location in an attempt to serve those?
Yeah.
What location?
With 3 different dorm rooms on the Vanderbilt University campus in Gillette Hall. And there were 2 rooms in East Hall that we went to.
Okay. Now, back to Gillette Hall. What room or rooms did you go to in Gillette Hall?
213, 626, I believe, and there's another room on the 6th floor, and the number's escaping me right now.
That's fine. Just
Okay.
And I believe also yesterday, and again, not getting into leading, but we talked about the ID section taking photographs and doing their work on the 27th, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. And that you did not take any photographs on the 27th.
No, sir, not on the 27th, I did not.
Did you, however, on the 28th?
Yes, sir, I did.
And Your Honor, if I could show counsel the first 4.
All right.
Ask these be passed to Detective Mayo. Detective Mayo, could you take a look at those and see if those are indeed photographs that you took on June 28th pertaining to room 213 in Gillette Hall?
That is correct. I
Okay,
did
and
take these photographs.
and I believe I have arbitrarily just numbered them A through D.
Yes, there's A, B, C, D, 4 different photographs.
Okay, and I believe Jordan is going to be able to put up those on the screen. That one seems to have a mind of its own.
Yeah.
All right, I believe we're seeing what I pre-labeled letter A. Tell us, what is that?
This is the outer door of room 213 at Gillette Hall.
All right. And I believe we discussed yesterday that it had not been secured from when ID left, so.
Right, that's correct.
All right. And you recall about what time of the day or night it was that you were there?
9, 10 o'clock at night. The search warrants were signed around 7 p.m., 7:30, somewhere in that time frame. So,
Okay. And what specifically were you looking for in room 213?
computer, and a laptop computer.
Okay. And was that associated with any particular individual?
It was associated with Mr. Vandenburg.
Okay. And you recall what his first name?
Mr. Brandon Vandenburg, I'm sorry.
All right. And had you physically met, come into contact with that individual prior to June 28th when you went to serve the search warrant?
Yes, sir, I did.
And do you recall, and again, this may get us back to when you first would have encountered Mr. Vandenburg?
The day before, on the 27th.
Okay. So, on the 28th, we go to letter B. What are we seeing here?
This is just inside the doorway of room 213 at Gillette Hall, Mr. Brandon Vandenburg's room.
Okay. And is that or is that not the room you had been in the previous day?
It is, same room.
Anything different about it from the day before?
The bed, Mr. Vandenberg's bed, which is this bunk here, the sheets are different, obviously.
Now, we say obviously.
I'm sorry, but from the day before, the sheets had been changed. They were different sheets on the bed the day before. The chair in the middle of the room and the laptop computer sitting in that chair.
Okay. And upon you opening the door going into room 213, is that how the computer was situated?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And I believe we could go to letter C. And what is this view?
It's just a little bit closer angle of the same exact thing.
Okay. Now, was Mr. Vandenburg there at the time?
He was. He was actually watching Netflix or some kind of movie on his laptop at the time.
Okay. So was it up and running.
It was up and running.
Okay. And I believe letter D.
This is a picture of the actual laptop computer that belonged to Mr. Brandon Vandenburg. And as you can see, it was up and running at the time with the screen active there.
Okay. Your Honor, I would tender those as the next collective is Exhibit 8, I believe.
Correct. All right.
Let Ms. Halstead have a moment to get those. Now, we just did. The technology. Now, Detective Mayo, search warrant for the computer. We have pictures of the computer. What, if anything, did you do with the computer?
Placed it in a brown paper bag, sealed the bag, and took it to the property room where it was checked in as evidence.
I might have a moment, Your Honor.
All right.
I can ask this be passed to Detective Mayo. Detective Mayo, you're being handed an object in appears to be a brown paper bag. Could you look at that and tell us if you can identify what it is?
Yes, this is the computer that was just photographed that seized out of Mr. Brandon Vandenberg's room. It has Gillette Hall written on it, room 213 written on it, as well as Mr. Vandenberg's last name to keep it identified with him, as well as the case complaint number, which is 130607-509, as well as the description of what is in the bag, Apple laptop, silver.
Now, Detective, it appears to have some other markings and tape and things.
Yes.
Has this computer been to other places other than in your
Yes.
possession?
Obviously when the bag was sealed, when the bag was sealed, I stapled it together with my property sheet attached to it and put it in the property room. Whenever it's checked out of the property room and examined and rebagged, the evidence tape is placed back on it to reseal the bag.
Did you yourself inspect the computer,
No, sir.
do anything, manipulate it, or
No, sir.
view anything on it?
I personally did not. My involvement was seizing it, turning it into the property room, later retrieving it.
Okay, and do you yourself have any particular expertise in computer software, or
No, sir. No, sir, I do not.
is there a part of the police department that does have such expertise?
Yes, there is. We have a unit that is, all they do is cell phones and computers, digital analysis and things of that nature. I do not do it.
Okay. And was this particular item, if you know, sent to that unit for analysis?
Yes, it was. I personally retrieved it from the property room and took it to that unit for analysis.
All right. And I'm going to go into necessarily what may have been uncovered, but have you seen the results of that examination?
I was provided with those reports. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, I would tender that as Exhibit 9 to this hearing. Detective Mayo, during the course of this investigation, I believe yesterday you told about seeing some videos, surveillance videos, correct?
Yes, sir.
Pardon me. During your investigation, did you or did you not attempt to identify certain individuals who appeared in those video clips?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you do that by yourself or have other people assisting? Or?
I was assisted mainly through Vanderbilt University Police Department. Lieutenant Harville was very instrumental in helping us identify the people that were seen in those videos.
Okay. Were you able to get a positive identification of every single person who appeared in the videos?
No, sir. Unfortunately, no, we were not.
Okay. Were there, though, individuals that you were able to identify and become persons of interest?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay. And did you attempt to obtain electronic devices from any or all of those individuals?
Yes, sir. Certain individuals I did. Yes, sir.
Okay. If I could just maybe save a trip and show two at once. Let's do just one at a time to keep them straight. Detective, you've been handed a smaller item in a brown packaging. Could you take a look at that and see if you can recognize what is contained in that envelope?
I do. This is the cell phone that belonged to Jaborian McKenzie, and his name is J. Tip McKenzie is written on the package. I wrote on here from person because I actually seized it from his person. The unlock code for his phone is written on here, the description, which is an iPhone, and the case complaint number is written on here as well.
Okay. And was that item also turned into the,
Yes, sir. It was turned into the property room,
and from
logged in
there,
as evidence.
and from there, was it,
It was later
Sit-
retrieved by me, yes, sir.
okay, and,
Taken to the forensics detectives for analysis.
okay. And was there any one or more specific detectives in that forensic unit that dealt with this case?
At the time, there were 4 detectives in that unit, and on basically one detective did, I guess, pretty much all of the analysis on these different electronic devices.
Okay, and who was that? If you-
That would be Detective Chad Gish. He's the electronics expert for the police department, one of the electronics experts.
And I believe you mentioned the name Tip. Is that a nickname?
That is from what I was understood, that was Mr. Jaborian McKenzie's nickname. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Your Honor, I would tender that as Exhibit 10.
All right.
And if we have the next envelope that council has reviewed past that. Again, Detective Mayo, if you would take a look at that and see if you recognize it, and if so, tell
I
us.
do. This is a cell phone that I seized from Mr. Christopher Boyd. I've written the unlock code on here. There's description of what it is, iPhone 4. The case complaint number is right here on the property sheet that I've attached to it.
Okay. And I perhaps should have asked, I may need to get Exhibit 10 back, but when was this cell phone from Mr. Boyd recovered or obtained?
This particular item was recovered on July the 1st. Mr. Boyd was not there on the 28th.
Okay. And I believe even yesterday we talked about this being an ongoing investigation.
That is
so-
correct, yes.
Okay. So we're items, oh, that's fine. Thank you.
This item was recovered from, back to Mr. McKenzie's cell phone. This particular item was recovered on June the 28th of 2013 from Mr. McKenzie's person.
And that was our Exhibit 10, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And do you recall where he was, or where you encountered him?
He met us, I don't know where he was on campus. Campus officials located him when we were serving this search warrant on his dormitory room. And he came there, and we recovered his phone from his person.
Okay. And, Your Honor, I believe the next phone will be Exhibit 11.
So McKenzie is 10, Boyd is
11, yes, I believe so. Now, Detective Mayo, while we're talking about phones, did you determine whether or not Miss Mackey had a cell phone?
I did, yes.
Okay. Now, did you obtain a search warrant to get her cell phone, or do anything at all about her cell phone?
We did download it at one point. She gave us consent to download her phone, and we did that. It was downloaded, content was gathered from it, and then given back to her.
Okay. Now, are you saying we as in?
And I apologize. She gave the phone to me, which in turn, I gave it to Detective Gish,
Okay.
the electronics detective. Gave it to him. He did his analysis with it, recovered what he could, brought the phone back, and gave it directly to the victim.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I just meant to clarify. I said you said you
Yes, I'm sorry.
didn't have any particular expertise. Okay. And so, do you recall when approximately that might have been done?
It was July, it was after the 28th, the search warrants. I want to say the 8th, but I can't remember off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
And during this period of time, oh,
Well, if you can't remember, Your Honor, then I don't think you can get it.
would that have been, excuse me,
I'm fine with the answer sometime after, I believe he can say
okay.
that. All right.
Okay.
Item description here.
Okay. And when, if you can tell by the packaging or recollection, was that recovered?
It was, it's not on here. I think it may be covered up, but it was in July after the search warrants for Sergeant Vandenburg.
Okay. And did you obtain a search warrant to get that, or how did you come to?
No, she consented and gave it to us on her own.
Okay. And do you recall anything about the circumstances, where it was, how you?
It was in her apartment, and she brought it to us and gave it to us. I think she was unclear at the time on which actual one to give us, but
Your Honor,
That's fine, but
you can't testify about what this fact entails.
Well,
this,
That would be hearsay.
I understand that.
okay. So, in the course of the investigation, was this in the course of the investigation?
this was during the course of the investigation. That is correct.
Okay. And did you yourself have any personal knowledge of what items of clothing would or would not have been?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Your Honor, I would tender that as the next numbered exhibit, I believe 13?
All right. That's number 12.
12, oh, I'm sorry. Just one. A couple more photographs, if I could show counsel. Detective Mayo, you referenced on the 28th going to rooms. Do you recognize the photographs that have just been handed you?
I do.
Okay. Recall where those taken?
These were taken inside Mr. Beatty's dorm room.
Okay. And do you recall where that was?
It was in Gillette Hall. I want to say 618. I believe that was his room number.
Now, what is in this photograph that was of interest to you?
This watch right here.
And why was that?
In the surveillance video that I had seen prior to serving the search warrant, I saw Mr. Beatty was wearing a white watch, or what appeared. I took a picture of it. It resembled, I don't know if it was the exact same watch, obviously, but it did resemble the one I saw earlier.
Okay. And in what I'm looking at on the screen, top left corner
Yes.
photograph, who does that appear?
That appears to be Mr. Beatty, the defendant.
Okay. And the items in the room, did they appear to be his,
Yes, sir.
or his room?
Yes, sir.
And was Mr. Beatty there at the time?
No, sir. He was not in the room.
Okay. And I believe letter B, if we could switch to it. And what is this?
This is the watch. I just picked it up and took a closer photograph of it, and that's actually my hand.
All right. All right, I would tender those. Is the next number now, I think 13, correct?
Correct.
Collective 13. Detective Mayo, to your knowledge, where is that white watch in the photographs?
On a desk.
No,
Oh, I'm
today.
Today? I do not know, sir.
Okay. Did you collect it?
No, sir, I did not.
Why not?
Well, like I stated, I didn't know if that was the same exact watch that he had in the surveillance video that I saw. Therefore, I really didn't have cause to seize it, and it wasn't specifically written into the search warrant that I had written.
Okay. So once you had your left hand holding the watch and took the picture,
I
What
put
did
it
you-
right back on the desk where it was and left it there.
okay. ask about your having met Mr. Vandenburg.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall, and I believe you already told this, I'm going to go back over it, but the date, but the location where you first met Mr. Vandenburg?
Initially, when I met Mr. Vandenburg, it was at the Vanderbilt University Police Department's administrative offices.
Okay, these same offices you talked about yesterday?
Yes, sir, the same offices.
Okay. Now, was he under arrest or in custody or any official police
No, sir. He was not.
handcuffs or anything of that nature?
Absolutely, no, sir.
Okay. Now, on the 27th, did you obtain any item or items from Mr. Vandenburg?
I did.
And what was that?
I obtained his cell phone. He gave it to me by consent.
Okay. Detective, in keeping with our process, you are once again being handed an item. Could you tell us if you recognize that, and if so, what it is?
I do recognize it. This is the package containing Brandon Vandenberg's iPhone. I've written the unlock code on here as well as the case complaint number.
Okay. Now, we talked about unlock code. How did you obtain that?
Asked him what his code was.
Okay. And I believe you referenced it on someone other.
If I needed a code to unlock the phone, I would write it on the packaging there, because it would make the detective's job later who was going to examine the phone, so he could unlock it and get in it and examine it.
All right. And was that also, went through the same chain of
Yes,
property
same
room
chain of
and-
custody. It was packaged and turned into the property room, which I later retrieved it, took it to the analyst.
Okay. Your Honor, I would tender that as Exhibit 14.
Okay.
Detective, again, going back to yesterday and talking about the rape kit and about
Yes,
the
sir.
legal examination.
Yes, sir.
Not going to go back into that, but having that item, explain that if you would.
I needed DNA samples from other individuals that I'd seen in that security video, so that if DNA,
Okay. And is that something that TBI requires?
yes, they required a standard for comparison.
Okay. If I could approach counsel and show these next, what I hope to be collective items. Thank you, Mayor. You're going to be handed a collection of items that I have, I believe, labeled A through I, but we'll count them as we go through. Would you look at each of those individually and see if you recognize them?
I do recognize them.
All right. Well, let's start with, do you see the one on top? Is it A, did I label it A? Or that may be-
23A, yes. or-
Oh,
What?
well, just A.
A,
For our
yes,
purposes.
that's correct.
All right. I guess first of all, what process did you go through in obtaining these samples?
These-
Search warrants?
No, these were all given to me by consent. Each individual consented to giving me DNA samples. That is achieved by basically taking a Q-tip, and we instruct to have the individual roll the Q-tip in between their cheek and gum. What that does is it picks up saliva, which can later be determined, find DNA.
Okay, is this a complicated, high-tech?
No. Different times from each individual. Some were collected same day, just different times. Some were completely different days.
Now, let's start with A, the envelope. And let me just ask first, is there any particular reason why that one's in a white envelope and the others are in?
Yes, sir. This was collected by Sergeant Shreve.
Okay,
And I
you-
wasn't present, and he just packaged it different than I do.
Okay, that's what I was going to, and that's the same Detective Shreve, or Sergeant Shreve that was your,
Supervisor and was
Supervisor.
working with me on the case.
okay, and who is that a sample?
This is a sample from DeAndre Woods.
Okay, and if you would set it aside and pick up B,
B is labeled as a sample from Christopher Boyd.
excuse me, I did forget one thing. Go
Yes.
back to A, and does it have on the packaging when it was collected from Mr. Woods?
It's not written on
I
here,
didn't-
but I believe it's noted in the file
In the
when
file.
it was collected.
Okay, maybe why I didn't ask the question. Okay, with B,
Yes,
I believe you said it belonged to Christopher Boyd.
that is correct.
Now, does that packaging have anything on the outside about when it was collected?
It's not written on here, but it is noted in the file when it was collected.
Okay. And is there any particular reason to either note or not note the collection date on the,
There's no particular
Manila
reason,
envelope.
because basically when I turn these in, there's a property form attached to it with the date on it,
okay. C,
in the file when it was collected. ETTA.
okay, thank you. E,
E would be a sample from Mr. Matt Prelude.
and could you spell his last name?
Yes, Prioleau.
Okay, thank you.
F would be
Yes.
a sample from Mr. Cory Batey.
Now, let's stop there on his.
Yes.
Did you personally collect that from Mr. Batey?
Yes.
And you recall approximately when?
This was collected on June the 27th.
Okay. Back to when we'll talk about the 27th.
Yes.
Okay.
The next sample listed as G would be samples from Brandon Banks.
Okay.
And these were collected June the 27th.
Okay. Next one.
H would be samples from Jaborian McKenzie. These were collected on June the 27th. And the last one is letter F, is what's written on here. Brandon Vandenburg. These were collected on the 27th.
Okay.
June the 27th of 2013.
Okay.
Did you say F?
That's what I say, I must have gotten out of line.
I think you meant I. I mean, I think it's on there, Captain, but it should be listed as I.
It looks like an F, but I guess it is an I.
It's my handwriting. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay. Your Honor, I would tender those as the next collective exhibit, hopefully A through I.
Your Honor, Judge said anything that he didn't collect himself?
Well, I mean, there's only one.
There's
I
only
think
one.
that was the first one.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we can mark that for identification.
Which one?
A.
A.
Now, Detective Mayo, during the course of this, you talked about obtaining the cell phones. Did you also obtain the telephone numbers or cell phone numbers that went with those phones?
Yes.
Okay. And particularly with respect to Mr. Cory Batey, did you obtain his cell phone records?
Yes.
Okay. And how was that done?
I believe a subpoena was sent to the carrier.
Okay. Is that standard practice?
That is standard.
I don't know if I can approach. Detective Mayo, would you take a look at those and see if you recognize what those documents are?
It's from Sprint, which is the cell phone company. And these appear to be basically their standard records that they send when we request them.
Okay. Does that have their
Yes.
certificate of?
It does, and actually here's a search warrant that I used to obtain these records. So it was obtained through search warrant.
Okay. And does that have any, what is the telephone number or the cell phone number associated with those?
Cell phone number associated with these. (615-485-7996).
Thank you. Your Honor, I would tend to those as the next numbered exhibit.
Number 16.
Detective Mayo, I said we would go back to the 27th, and you've already referenced the 27th. Did you meet an individual on the 27th of June 2013 whom you learned to be a Mr. Cory Batey?
I did.
Is that person present here in the courtroom?
He is.
Could you tell us which person he is and perhaps by location or
Yes.
what he may be wearing?
He's seated to my right and appears to be a blue suit, blue tie, white shirt behind his counsel.
Okay, Your Honor, I ask the record reflect that he has indicated Mr. Batey. Now, actually, I'm about to run out of exhibits, so. Detective Mayo, you have been handed an item. Would you tell us what that item is?
Yes, this appears to be Mr. Cory Batey's iPhone with the unlock code written on here, the case complaint number on here, and from person written on here because it was seized from his person.
And where was his person at the time? What physical location?
Outside of his dorm room in the hallway of the 6th floor of Gillette Hall while the search warrant was being performed inside the room.
Okay. And did you have a search warrant for that phone?
I did.
Okay. Maybe in the box. Actually, I may have one more. Probably look in the box of them. Actually, while we're looking at this, I had checked off one that I didn't have. Was that item, again, turned into the property room?
Yes,
to
this
be-
item was turned into the property room where it was logged as evidence and later taken to our forensics lab where it was downloaded digitally.
Yes. Just when I thought we were out of items, Your Honor, I would tender that as the next numbered exhibit.
Number 17.
No, I'll do it. I had accidentally already checked off, but now you've been handed the last package for you.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, this is Mr. Brandon Banks' iPhone. It's got the unlock code and case complaint number written on there, and well as his name.
Okay. And do you recall or have any way of remembering or telling when that was recovered?
Yes, this was taken or seized on the 27th.
Okay.
From
Pursuant to the search
from Mr. Banks, yes.
Okay. All right, I would tender that as exhibit
Number 18.
18. Now, Detective Mayo, on June 27th, as you discussed meeting Mr. Batey and obtaining his cell phone. Did you have any discussion with him about this matter?
I did.
Okay. And where was that discussion?
It was located inside of an office at the Vandenburg University Police Department's administrative building.
And who, if anyone, was present besides yourself and Mr. Batey?
My supervisor, Sergeant Shreve.
Okay. Now, was Mr. Batey under arrest at the time?
No, he was not.
Was he free to leave if he chose to do so?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And after the conversation, did he in fact leave and go about his business?
He did.
Okay. Was this interview, this conversation recorded? I would ask that these items be passed to Detective Mayo. Detective Mayo, go ahead and say you're being passed 2 copies of the transcripts because I suspect one will be taken from you in a moment to be given to Ms. Halstead. But could you take a look, first of all, the DVD, CD, you recognize what that is?
Yes, it's a CD of interview of Cory Batey by Detective Mayo, June the 27th, 2013, and it has our case number written on here.
All right. And have you reviewed that interview in comparison with the transcript?
I have.
And is the transcript a fair and accurate transcription of what is contained on the CD?
Yes, it is.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, I would tender the CD as an exhibit and a copy. Could he keep one? Did you keep one? Good, good.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And then once Ms. Halstead has marked that, if we could have the actual CD back to play. Now, Detective, while she's doing that, was this audio and video or
It was audio only, audio only.
Now, Your Honor, prior to playing the recording, with court's permission, I would ask that jury be provided transcripts to follow along.
And my instruction is the same as before.
Now, Detective Mayo, do you recall approximately what time this interview took place?
I don't recall the actual time. It was before lunch, before lunchtime though.
Okay, and at that time, did Mr. Batey appear to be under the influence of any type of intoxicant or otherwise not in possession of his faculties?
Not that I recall remembering, no, sir.
Okay, and do you recall how he arrived at the Vanderbilt Police Department? Was he there on his own with other people?
I didn't arrange that. We asked the Vanderbilt University Police Department that day to speak to several different individuals, and they handled that themselves.
Okay.
First time I saw Mr. Batey is when he walked into the room.
Yeah, I believe we set the timeline yesterday, but as of June 27th, when you spoken to Mr. Batey, had you seen any images from any cell phones or computers?
No, not at that time. I had not.
Okay. If we could give it a try. Well, I believe you said, I'll try to get this in before it starts playing, still receiving assistance from Vanderbilt,
That is correct.
Lieutenant Harville.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
There we go.
Hey, this is Detective Mayo, this is Shirley Sessions from Vanderbilt Police Department. Cory Batey.
Mr. Batey, like you said, my name is Detective Jason Mayo, and I work for the Metro Police Department Section.
Yes, sir.
I'm out here following up on possible allegations.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Obviously, I want you to understand something. Just like I'm telling everybody else that comes into this room, you do not have to talk to me. You can say, Detective Mayo, I don't wish to make any statements, and you can get up and walk out of this room. No problem. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Okay? But obviously, I'm trying to get everybody's story. Okay? And I'm trying to get everybody's statement and just get it done and get it over with. And make sense?
Yes, sir.
If you would like to give me your statement or what happened that night, because everybody knows why we're here.
Yes, sir.
So, that'd be great. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But if you do.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me what's going on.
So after we left over our friend's room, I went over to the east with a female friend. And I went up to my room, tipping back to everybody to get some food. They left to go get the food. Female wanted to leave. I took her downstairs. And we all met up downstairs. And from that point on, our friend pulled up with the female. And he was like, y'all didn't take up or whatever. So I helped him get out the car or whatever. Banks and Brandon went up with the girl. I got my food tipped, and we went up to see, if everything was all right. So then they got into the room, we went to the room, and we were just there talking. And I left. I met my girlfriend.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
While you were in the room, did anybody mess with that girl? What was going on with her? What was she doing?
I guess she had too many drinks that night.
Where was she at?
I have no idea.
No, where was she at in the room?
Oh, on the floor.
On the floor?
Yes.
Okay. Was she, mumbling, talking? Was she asking for help? Was she peeing on herself? Anything like that?
She was bumping.
Okay. Did she vomited or anything like that?
Yes.
You saw?
Yeah.
Okay. And while you were in the room, you didn't see anybody else mess with this girl?
No, sir.
Did you mess with this girl?
No, sir.
Did you stick your fingers in her,
No, sir.
penis in her, anything like that?
No, sir.
All right. So your DNA is nowhere going to be found on her clothing or in her body?
No, sir.
Okay. Because I want everybody to understand this, because I'm being very upfront with everybody, okay? Everybody that comes in here to talk to me, I'm being 100 with them and tell them, I've got the girls' clothes, they're going to be sent to a lab and examined. Today is everybody's opportunity to be upfront and honest with me and explain why their DNA could be on that clothing. Okay, she was medically examined. that's also going to be checked for DNA, okay? And I want you to understand that just because people wear condoms, that doesn't mean DNA is not transferred. Okay? We've been doing this a long time. This is all we do for them.
Yes, sir.
And today is everyone's opportunity to man up. And if something happened, I'll be honest and tell us this is what happened. And because the thing about it is, if I do all this work and have all this stuff examined, and then I've got DNA, it's going to be really hard to explain later when I've already came to you once. See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It'll look real bad. That's why today is everybody's opportunity. Just be upfront, honest, tell me what happened.
Yes, sir.
Did anything happen sexual to that girl in that room?
No, sir.
One thing that I'm asking everybody is, if there's not going to be any DNA found on you or on this girl or anything like that, I'm asking everybody if they'll consent to DNAs and giving me their DNA. And basically, that's rubbing out a Q-tip in your mouth, getting saliva, because I can get all the DNA I need from people's saliva. Is that something you'd be willing to do today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'm going to fill out this little consent form here because you'll have to sign it. What year are you in school here?
Sophomore.
Where are you from?
Nashville.
Where'd you grow up in Nashville?
East Nashville.
Right.
Parkwood. You from Nashville?
Yep. Grew up south.
What high school?
Antioch. Yeah, I know.
Bear.
Yeah, I know. Not the greatest school, but it was a lot different. I'm quite a bit older than you, so it was a little different back in my days.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cory, I want you to scoot up because I want you to say this, okay? This says, I, Cory L. Batey, having been informed of my constitutional right, understand my right to refuse to give physical samples without a search warrant. Hereby authorize me, Detective Mayo, an investigator or police officer for the Metropolitan Nashville-Davidson County Police Department, Tennessee, to have medical personnel obtain physical samples such as, but not limited to, hair, blood, semen, and saliva. You see, I've circled the word saliva because I don't want any of that other stuff. I understand and know what I am doing. I understand I can stop having the physical samples taken at any time. No promises or threats have been made to me. No pressure or coercion of any kind has been used against me. Do you understand all that? Okay, if you understand that and you're willing to give me your DNA today, sign right there. Okay. See, this is a sealed package, and I'm going to unseal it. Pull one of those Q-tips out for me. And rub it between your cheek and gum on your left or right side, whichever one. Okay, stick it back in here. Okay, that one. And then just do the same thing on the opposite side. That's good. Okay. Alright. So, nothing happened.
No, sir.
I'm not going to find your DNA in that room.
In the room?
Yeah.
No, sir.
I'm not talking about skin stuff.
No, sir.
No DNA.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure.
Fine.
Give me my business card, okay? And I'm going to write my phone number on here to my desk. If you change your mind, you think that you want to talk to me a little bit more before
Yes, sir.
some other things come out,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in your best interest.
Appreciate it.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I just got this. And I know everybody's already been talking about administration.
Yes, sir.
Before y'all talk to the administration, and before y'all do, because you probably aware of the number following the law here recently. Any of y'all ever get together and decide, okay, this is the story we need to come up with, and we need to say this, we need to say that, or you guys make sure that we, kind of say the same thing to everybody, so everybody's kind of on the same thing. Did y'all ever get together and discuss what happened tonight?
No, sir.
Discuss anything about what y'all need to tell administration? Or you can tell us.
No, sir.
So y'all not really discussed this at all?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, well, Cory, like I said, if somebody's come out later, and you and I need to sit down and have a talk about some more stuff, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, if you decide you want to come talk to me and let me know some things that maybe you have to share with me today, because the fact of the matter is, I know you're done with this, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have some very strong suspicions, and I know, to be honest with you, I know something. Okay? Basically, today was to bring everybody in here, see who was going to man up, see who was going to tell the truth. I'll be honest with you. If somebody going to come talk to me pretty soon, real bad for everybody. Real bad. That's not a joke. That's not a threat. That's not me trying to be Mr. Badass Policeman. I'm just telling you the truth. Okay? You might want to think about it. But if that's all for today, if that's all you need to talk about with me for today, you're free to go. You don't have to stay here. One more thing. Did you ever see any text messages as far as videos or anything that have been taken of that girl, pictures that may have been taken of that girl?
No, sir.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate your time, man. Good luck to you. Is this your bag?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can return that to Ms. Halstead. Detective Mayo, after that interview, did Mr. Batey come by and see you again?
No, sir.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, cross-examination.
Your Honor, I'll be doing cross-examination. I asked for 5 minutes. If you don't mind.
5 minutes break.
Yes, just 5 minutes.
All rise. I appreciate it.
Huddle up, you and
she wants to be screwed into retirement to say, we'll do whatever it is. They're totally safe. Place it happens.
She wanted it to be, he wanted it to be an 8 results anyway.